Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. My opinion is your business really to be concerned about the fate of American veterans, people who serve our country and take care of our country. And John Walker, you know him as the baseball player, but he's also an advocate for veterans. And John, glad to have you on the program. Tell us a little bit about what developed your interest in this. I know you had a very illustrious, maybe even controversial baseball career and have gone on to a successful career in real estate. What got you involved in advocacy for veterans?
I consider myself to be somewhat of an obnoxious patriot. Some of my comments that were taken grossly out of context and misreported, let's say, years ago. It was basically just, studying some really staunch conservative values, conservative opinions. And that it sort of led me from that extreme conservative group and love of this country, love of our veterans. And really, I think like most people, didn't really know the state of which a lot of our veterans live in, the state of their care when they return from whatever theater they've served in. But to say it's subpar would be a drastic understatement. My 501c3 called Save Homeless Veterans is based here in Atlanta. I was doing some philanthropy work with a homeless organization about this time last year, and a dear friend of mine by the name of Rocky King. You probably don't know who Rocky is, but Rocky was a WCW from the South, a WCW wrestler. But anyway, Rocky he moved down to Atlanta back in the late 80s when wrestling was getting big and Turner was starting the WCW and whatnot. And Rocky was actually homeless for 3 years. And the reason he moved here, he wanted to become a wrestler. So finally, long story short, he ends up, pounding through the system, ends up wrestling for WCW for about 20 years, makes a pile of money. Rocky's about 55 or 56 now. He retired about 6-7 years ago. And all Rocky does is philanthropy work for the homeless. He feeds them at homeless shelters and, has probably 8-10 charity events per year, clothes, food, money, things like that to help the homeless. So I was helping Rocky last year with a charity event to help out the homeless of Atlanta. And we just get to talking one day, and he's like, I've done so much for the homeless in Atlanta. Do you know anything about the homeless veteran situation here? And I'm like, I've never really thought about it, but no, I don't. And so hearing what Rocky was saying, doing some research on my own, it's actually not only a huge problem here in Atlanta, it's a huge problem nationwide. To give you some just quick numbers, just in the metro Atlanta area, not 100 miles outside the city, just the metro Atlanta area inside 285, the Atlanta Loop. The VA knows about 2,600 men and women who are veterans who are currently homeless. Those are the ones the VA knows about. The actual number is probably about 4,000 or 5,000. When you're talking about nationwide, it's estimated, that about 300,000 of our men and women veterans are homeless on any given night in this country. And if that's just
incredible. Talking to John Walker. By the way, John, I have tons of questions in unfortunately a short period of time, so I'm going to ask you to make your questions answers a little leaner. I love how much information you have. I love your passion. I do want to mention I'm here in Chicago, ironically, with a company called Best Work Data, bestworkdata.com, and they're from the Atlanta, Georgia area. And I know that's a place near and dear to you. John, let me ask you then, you talked about your controversial remarks, and I guess there's probably nothing more dangerous in a left-wing media today than being a conservative, no matter what you try to do. And so I always thought you got a bum break, and I'm delighted that you got one of those personalities of turning lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't, I've always, people ask me, how has that affected you? Does it affect your psyche and things like that? And basically, my opinion is, there's about 6 or 7 people in this world that actually care what your opinion of me is. Chances are, and, not to disparage you personally, chances are you're probably not one of them. My family, my friends, the 6-7 people that are closest to me, if your opinion of me is positive, then I'm okay with myself. And being okay with myself even after everything that I went through with, the literal pounding I took even year after year from the media, it's not, hurt my spirit. It's not hurt my ego. And it's not hurt my willingness to go forward and do what I think are right things. In starting Save Homeless Veterans, from the stance of being an obnoxious patriot, see how these men and women are mistreated, have been mistreated, and Lord knows they're looking into the abyss, wanting a helping hand to help get them off the streets, to help help them cope and get counseling for their psychiatric issues, their drug and alcohol issues, and things like that. I felt a personal responsibility to start an organization to be that helping hand, and we're a 501c3 not-for-profit. Had been around about a year. Basically, what we do is we acquire homes, nice homes too. My whole motto is I will not put a man or woman who fought in my stead in a home that I would not be proud to live in. So the homes that we acquire, they're all 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, hardwood floors, granite countertops, brand new appliances. They're nice places, and then we go forward from that, and every issue that causes a man or woman to become homeless, we deal with it. And it's basically 3 issues. It's fiscal irresponsibility, it's a psychiatric issue, or it's a drug and alcohol dependency issue. And we've got a great team of counselors, other 501c3s that we're partnered with to basically, in a comprehensive manner, rehabilitate a man or woman's life who has served this country and has ended up homeless. We tackle all the issues that cause that man or woman to become homeless.
John Walker is our guest, a former Major League Baseball player. He's also the author of the book Stars and Stripes. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a book that I wrote that came out early last year. It's a lot of autobiography stuff. It's a lot of stuff about what I went through, with that whole, media craze, media sensation that was spawned from my political views and political conservative political views. Delves a line of that. It delves a line into that in the effort to, clear the record and hear it straight from the horse, or I guess some would say the jackass's mouth. And that's in a nutshell what it's about, but it's also a lot about baseball, a lot about, my personal experience of, getting bitten with this wild, crazy, fanciful dream as a 13-year-old kid to want to play in the big leagues one day, and the whole physical and mental maturation process of, going from point A to way down the line, ending up at point Z. And, I think it's a pretty inspirational book to, young kids, 13, 15, 17-year-old kids that are looking at their life and going, my God, I want to accomplish these things. I want to achieve these things. How do I go about it? I think my book, at least the first 4 or 5 chapters, can speak to those kids about, hard work and ethics and morals and determination. So I don't care if you want to become a veterinarian, a professional baseball player, a banker, an entrepreneur, whatever. The methods to success are generally the same no matter what you want to accomplish. And there's a lot talked about in there as well.
John Walker, I appreciate you being with us. By the way, that book published by WND.com. It's one of the most interesting and even controversial books out there. I really enjoy. I think it's a great publisher for you to choose. I love their stuff. Really love your heart for the veterans. I'm totally with you on that. And by the way, what you were saying before about pleasing everyone, anyone who pleases everyone rarely pleases himself. And it's most important to make sure that you stick to your own values and convictions. I've always been impressed by you when it comes to that. John Walker, I do want to encourage you to learn more about his work for veterans. What's that website for people to get more information? SaveHomelessVeterans.org. We're a 501c3 not-for-profit. We live off donations, and where these donation dollars go, many people, where the dollars go. Well, when these men and women, when they come into our program, most of them literally do not have a dime to their name. They are flat broke. We, of course, reinstate their benefits, and then people say, well, they have benefits. Well, I always explain to people, if you don't have an address, if you're homeless, it's kind of hard to get a benefit check. So in the first 5 or 6 weeks they're in the program, we take them down to the VA, walk them through the whole process with our liaisons, get their benefits reinstated. We've got a great job placement facility through a staffing company called Select Source here that gets our guys jobs and things like that. But that usually takes anywhere from 1 to 2 months. And during that 1 to 2 month period, if you come into a program and you don't have a dime to your name, how do you buy food? How do you buy hygienic products and things like that? And we literally will give these guys, here's $200, gentlemen, ma'am, John,
to go out and buy yourself groceries, go out and buy yourself a toothbrush, things like that.
I was running out of time when I asked you to give your website. You know what? We need to get you your own radio show. John Walker, former baseball player, thank you so much for being with us. Great conversation.
Thank you, Kevin. Again, SaveHomelessVeterans.org. Thank you.
You bet. I encourage people to check that out. We need to take care of those who took care of their country. I'm Kevin Price, again reporting from SHRM in Chicago. Thanks to our good friends at BestWorkData.com right there in Atlanta, Georgia.